How you doing, people? I shot this video earlier, but the sound went dead on me, so I wanted to be really real with you today about a really rough subject. Sorry the lighting's not very good. I'm not really very good at making videos, but I'm getting better. And this was inspired by a very dear friend of mine who just came out of an extremely narcissistic relationship. Okay, so the stuff that she went through would break most people. But in talking with her and talking to her about it, I realised that it's not just her story, because it happens to a lot of people, and it's happening behind closed doors, very quietly. And that's how it happens. That's how these things happen. That's how narcissists like it. And also, it's very personal to me too. Not because, not only because I've been through actual narcissistic abuse many times in many different relationships in many forms, but having worked with almost 60 people now and studying relationship dynamics and human psychology quite deeply, and obviously through working with a lot of people after Ibogaine treatment, what I've found is that I've seen this pattern again and again coming up, so I think it's worth making a video. So 90% of people, 90% of the time, when somebody gets clean or resets their life, they've got no point of reference whatsoever what a healthy relationship looks like, because in a happy, healed life, a relationship constitutes quite a lot of that, and they've got zero reference. And when we've been addicted or carrying trauma or stuck in very negative patterning, it's almost impossible to love yourself enough, to love ourselves enough, to believe that we even deserve real love, to believe that we're worthy of love. So what happens is we fall into the trap of allowing somebody to strip away our sense of self-worth, because deep down we don't feel worthy anyway. We don't feel worthy of love. And here's the ugly truth. These people who do this, the toxic people, the people who manipulate, the people who abuse, the narcissists, let's just call them what they are, the narcissists. They're not strong people. They're not powerful people. They are deeply insecure a lot of the time, very weak, and quite frankly pathetic people, because they are genuinely afraid. They're afraid of your light, your potential, and this intimidates and scares the living shit out of them. It does. So what do? They try and drag you down to their level. What they will do is chip away very, very slowly at your confidence, at your energy, at your peace, and at your frame of mind. Because if you actually stepped into your full power, they know that you'd leave them for dead. You leave them in the dust, and forget all about them and see them for who they truly are. And their twisted worldview, and in their twisted worldview where everything's a competition, you would make them look like a Hollywood pretender that they actually are. So today, in this video, I'm going to share 5 phrases, 5 things that you'll hear in a toxic relationship that look and sound innocent and innocuous on the surface and on their own, but are actually very, very subtle forms of manipulation. Okay, so when you're watching this video, think of it like me sitting down with you, grabbing a coffee, and saying, look, listen, mate, if you have ever if you've ever heard or experienced any of this shit in your own relationship, you need to pay close attention, because it ain't love. It's not about love, it's control. For a narcissist, it's all about being in control, and you know that it's time to get the hell out of there, because if you let this kind of thing carry on, you'll not only lose yourself, you will lose your mind. And the feelings of shame and guilt that come along when you realise that you've allowed this to happen for such a long time are very toxic indeed on the body itself. And I know this just because, like my very dear friend that I mentioned, I've experienced this myself for a long time, for way, way longer than I should have let it go on, through a lot of different people, but all doing the same thing, but just wearing different faces, different bodies, and different frocks. But once I was able to heal that part of myself where I couldn't see it, once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And that is the lens, essentially, that I want you to watch this video through. Because once you know these 5 phrases for what they actually are, the subtext behind them, the meaning underneath them, you'll never be able to brush them off again. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I don't want you to be hyper aware. I just want you to be aware of them. So phrase number 1, you're too sensitive. Okay, so variations on this are, you're overreacting. You're being too dramatic. You always take things the wrong way. Have you ever heard those? So on the surface, it sounds like they're just commenting on your reaction, which they will try and get out of you. But really what's happening is they are making your feelings the problem instead of their behavior, which caused your reaction and your feelings. Okay? So you may bring up something that hurt you. Okay? So, and instead of engaging, they'll shut you down. You're too sensitive. Boom. So the spotlight is off their shitty behavior, and now you're defending yourself. And here's the kicker. Over time, that seed of doubt that gets planted by the narcissist grows and grows. And then before you know it, you start second guessing your own very, very powerful instincts. You begin to wonder if you are actually being too dramatic. If your intuition can't be trusted, if you can't trust your own intuition. And that's the whole game with the narcissist and narcissistic abuse. If they can cut you off from your extremely powerful intuition and your extremely powerful inner compass, they are then running the show. Okay? So a genuine partner that actually has respect for you would never dismiss your feelings, would never ever do that. They would actually lean into the situation. They would say, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise that what I was saying landed that way. Please tell me more. Please tell me how I can fix it. Please tell me how I can show up differently. They might not agree at first, but a respectful, true partner will want to understand. So the next time someone hits you with something like, you're too sensitive, I want you to hear it for what it is. It's a test. What they're doing is they are testing you to see if you will abandon yourself to keep them comfortable and keep their needs met over your own. All right? And don't ever do that, because the moment that you start shrinking, they'll keep demanding it. Give them an inch and they'll take a mile, basically. And phrase number 2, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Now let's talk about this one carefully, because honesty is a virtue, and honesty is a very virtuous behavior. I mean, you can't have a healthy relationship without honesty, trust, and respect. But the problem is not the honesty itself, it's the context in which the honesty is used. So when someone says, I'm just being honest, right after they've dropped something on you like really cruel, really hurtful, very cutting, they're not using honesty as a virtue. They're wielding it as a weapon. They're using it as a shield. And it usually sounds something like where they would take a jab at your body, your intelligence, your hopes, your fears, your dreams, even your family. You may show them that you're hurt, and instead of taking responsibility, they'll come back with, oh, but I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. I really don't like your mother, but I'm just being honest. No, that's not honesty. That's something entirely differently. That's cruelty and abuse dressed up as transparency. Real honesty builds trust. Real honesty strengthens a relationship. Now, it might sting at first, but it comes with careful care, careful consideration of the other person's feelings. Something like, babe, I feel like we're drifting apart and it's really worrying me. Can we talk about it? Can we get real about it? That's honesty. That's real honesty. The manipulative version is all about dominance. It's all about one person dominating and controlling another, and it's designed to make you doubt yourself, to confuse you into thinking that you should be grateful because they are being real with you. But literally, before you know it, you are equating love with accepting someone's really mean, cruel, shitty behavior. So here's the key. The next time you hear, I'm just being honest, zoom out and look at the context in which it's being said. Are they being open to create connection, to create a foundation of trust and respect? Or are they throwing poison darts and calling it virtue? Because honesty without compassion isn't honesty at all. It's just plain mean and cruel behaviour, wearing honesty's disgusting frock as a disguise. All right. Now, phrase number three, sorry. You're being controlling. You're controlling me. Now, this one's textbook gaslighting. So you will set a boundary, and all healthy relationships should have boundaries. Please, if you're going to be running late, just send me a text. Yeah? You're just expressing discomfort. That's it. That's all you're doing. Or, babe, I don't like the way that you spoke to me in front of your friends. That was really disrespectful. If their response is, oh my God, you're so controlling, that's not control. That's somebody trying to establish clarity and boundaries within a relationship which is healthy. That's you saying, here's what I need to feel safe and respected within this relationship. But they don't want that. Not at all. Because boundaries, healthy boundaries, will expose somebody that is prone to giving narcissistic abuse. Boundaries will show whether someone is actually capable of showing up for you. All right. So instead, they'll flip it. What they'll do is they will make you the problem for having needs. And here's why it gets dangerous, okay, for long-term relationships. If you buy into it, you'll start minimizing your own needs. you'll start putting the needs of them instead of you in front of yours. You'll become a pushover, too easygoing, and it's not because you are. It's because you just want to keep the peace, and you're scared to be called controlling. Because healthy partners in healthy relationships love boundaries. They want to know how to love you better, how to show up for you better. Healthy partners see boundaries as an instruction manual on how to treat you in the best possible way, not a prison or a set of, really strict parameters. Toxic partners, on the other hand, they just want freedom from accountability. They do not want to be held accountable for their actions, not the freedom to love you in the way that you should be loved or treated. Phrase 4. I'm not ready for anything serious, but all the while acting like your partner. Now, this one can break your heart in 1,000 different ways every single day. And here's how it goes. This is what it looks like. They spend all the time with you, constantly text you, you get intimate with each other all the time. They might even introduce you to the family. Every single part of it feels like a relationship, like a proper relationship should do. But then when it boils down to it and you ask where you stand, they say, I'm not ready for anything serious. Or they might not even say that. They might just completely sidestep the issue without even talking about it. And what that really means is, I want all the benefits of being with you, all the benefits that come with a relationship, without the responsibility of choosing you, without the responsibility of having to choose you. And it's not confusion, it's convenience. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. What they're doing is keeping you emotionally invested just enough while keeping their emotional availability at an absolute minimum, and always keeping the exit door firmly open with one eye on it. And I've got to tell you, if you hear this, don't hang around waiting for them to sort their head out or sort the shit out or come around. Because when someone's ready, truly ready to be with you, you'll know about it. There's no hesitation, there's no limbo, there's no maybe later. You just know. Because if they're into you, they'll make it perfectly known. And when they move with clarity and purpose and not confusion, you'll know about it. So when somebody says this to you, take them at face value, because that's what they mean. Believe them. Believe them. And ask yourself, do I want to be someone's half choice? Do I want to be someone's side piece? Do I want to be somebody's option? Or do I deserve to be somebody's, first choice? Do I deserve to be treated properly? Phrase 5. You've changed, but not in a good way, as a criticism. Now, this is one of the most subtle, the most dangerous, really, because it sounds like disappointment. You've changed. That implies you are not who you used to be. But here's what it really says. Here's what it really means. This is the subtext behind it. I preferred you when you were smaller. When you were smaller, when you were easier to control, when you were easier to manipulate, when all of your focus was just on me. See, as you grow, maybe you're finally healing. You're finally setting healthy boundaries. You might even be going to therapy. You might even be pursuing your goals. You might even be achieving your goals. But instead of celebrating that with you, they will feel very threatened by this, because the version of you that was very, very insecure, very, very compliant, was very, very easy control, and served that version. That version of you served them way, way better, and it's all about what they can get from you. So they frame your growth as a problem. They might even criticize you for it. They might even throw shade on it, like, who dared you? Who do you think you are to grow? And if you believe it, you'll start shrinking again. You'll start to find yourself apologizing for getting better, apologizing for evolving. You'll even might even hold yourself back just to make them feel safe and comfortable. But the truth, and again, you'll only get the truth, a healthy partner wants you to grow. A healthy partner should be your biggest cheerleader. A healthy partner will feel proud watching you grow, watching you expand, watching your insecurities fall away. They don't ever feel less than you, because they feel inspired by your progress. They want to rise up to meet you at your level wherever you're at. So if somebody throws at you, "You've changed," like an insult, hear it clearly. Hear it loud and clear. What they are telling you is that their love was conditional. Not unconditional, it was conditional. And it only existed as long as you stayed small and controllable. So, in summary, let's see if we can remember them. So these are the 5 phrases that you've got to look out for. You're being too sensitive. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest with you. You're being too controlling. Why are you trying to control me all the time? I'm not ready for anything serious. And yeah, you've changed. Individually, they sound like nothing to worry about. But together, they are literally a textbook script for breaking somebody down emotionally, mentally, piece by piece. And remember this: walking away from people who play games like this, it's not cold. A lot of the time it isn't easy, because you become emotionally attached to these people. It's not giving up either. It's about you having self-respect. And every second you waste trying to figure out what's going on in this idiot's head, every second you tolerate this bullshit, you are not available for someone who would never dream of treating you like this. Because there's somebody out there for everyone. And the right partner, someone who's healthy and well adjusted, they don't need to be convinced to choose you. They don't need you to shrink and hide your light and dim your light for them to feel safe. They will instantly see your worth, and they will celebrate it with you, because they are happy to make you feel good. So if any of these 5 phrases in your relationship pop up, don't just brush them off. Pay very, very, very close attention to the way that they said, because your energy, your future, and your, most importantly, your peace of mind, which is priceless, are worth a hell of a lot more for settling for abuse and manipulation dressed up in a frock that looks like love. So if you know anybody like this, if you know anyone who's been going through this, when you are recovering, it's very, very difficult to have that acceptance that you are worthy of love, that you do deserve love. Everybody deserves love, especially you. So don't let people treat you like shit. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.